Yo, what up, Street Gods? There, Kim. Alright, Turbo Thought. Getting those winter vitamin D's, right? So, the internet is a funny thing, and I love it because it's kind of the ultimate playground for anything, right? And you know, it's kind of interesting because, like, kind of low-key at this point, Google is kind of the internet, or the ultimate intermediary. Like, you ain't finna put it like a URL as one thing, or bookmark. You just Google it, right? Like, even me, often I Google myself. It's just like, just Google Eric Kim blog, or I'm like, I know I've written about this. I'm just like, I just go on Google and I'll type in Eric Kim solo entrepreneurship or something like that, and Google does a better job indexing things than I could do myself. So the important thing is like, getting indexed by Google seems like a wise thing if you yourself use Google. I do. Google yourself. And it also does seem to be wise to do a multi approach, like a multi-sensory approach, or the multi-publishing approach, because you publish it both to your own website / blog, and you upload to YouTube, and you upload it to, you know, your podcast. I've actually found that Anchor.fm is the podcasting tool that I use, that I'll upload stuff there. It actually gets indexed by Google search pretty good too. And ultimately, the more juicy you make the information and specific, the better. So, for example, I did a pretty meaty essay recently, the philosophy of weightlifting, and I wrote it just like maybe a week ago or a few days ago. And now whenever I just went on Google and I searched the philosophy of weightlifting, specifically that, my top 2 videos showed up on YouTube in the search result, as well as my the essay that I did on my blog. And I mean, simple things you could do is like use proper caps, right? The philosophy of like uppercase weightlifting. And it seems that the way that Google indexes things is, the more meaty and information dense the thing, the better. And you know, simple things you put on your WordPress.org blog, and I think still WordPress.org is the way. You know, simple things like add a featured image, and then you just, you know, have a title specific to what you're going to Google later. And in terms of information, just make it as information rich and dense as possible. I think Google is smart. I mean, the algorithm, the AI search result, it's you want to write it for a human, not for the machine. And this is where the big problem is. You see that nowadays, a lot of days, with like, especially like recipe things, it's like, I'm like searching like, you know, lamb shoulder coriander recipe, right? And you click a first result, and then it's like, what is the history of lamb, or what is the history of coriander? I'm like, bro, like, you like, you're stupid trying to game the SEO, the Google search results to get your results to the top. I'm like, just give me the damn recipe, right? And this is actually, I think, something that, you know, Google search engineers, you guys should try to focus on, is that, like, if you yourself use Google on a regular basis, how they add all that additional information and wordage which is not necessary. They need to figure out a way to, like, not make that necessary. Maybe like a better algorithm is, I mean, they do this pretty good too, is like the number of reviews or ratings on a certain recipe, just stars there, or also the recency of the thing published, or maybe even the amount of images that they show. Or maybe there should be a reverse thing where they should better highlight information which is actually succinct and short to the point. Because back in the day with, you know, SEO stands for search engine optimization, which is Google search optimization, because Google is more or less the only search result. Like, ain't nobody finna use like Bing or Yahoo. Even DuckDuckGo is cool, but just like using it, and Google's result preciseness of Google is still at least like 100,000 times better than DuckDuckGo. I think DuckDuckGo is good for like privacy concerns. So if you're, you know, searching for weird stuff, then DuckDuckGo seems to be a good option. Otherwise, I mean, you could just use, I use Safari. I uninstalled Chrome a long time ago, and just download the Chrome the Safari extensions, like the Don't Track Me, blah blah blah, Ghosterly, stuff like that. Turn on the contact blockers and the ad blockers, and I think a good way to conquer the internet is you yourself become a solo media empire, and you write blog, vlog, podcast about anything and everything. And also images are important too. So like, you know, the photos you upload to your own blog, website, make sure you have Google AMP. Yeah, at least have the reader view enabled, because then Google does a pretty good job of indexing your images and blog posts as the AMP images, the .webp images, which are like essentially more efficient than JPEG images. And ultimately, you know, the day where I die, or, you know, my website goes down, or, you know, whatever, like I kind of could go to sleep better at night knowing that Google has it better indexed for me than I need to worry about. And even if, you know, shit does hit the fan, I mean, at least you got your email newsletter. Sendy.co, sendy.co is what I use, and have it set up through Amazon email services. I think Amazon AWS is highly underrated. Probably it's more people should build stuff with it. But anyways, so yeah, I think there's still a very, very bright future for the internet and the web, especially of you as a solo media empire creator. And I would say just don't limit yourself into one small category. Allow yourself to do it all, right? Like for me, like anything about life, philosophy, weightlifting, bodybuilding, powerlifting, hype. You invent new concepts like hype lifting. I think actually a good way to conquer the internet too is by innovating and creating new concepts that's not really a thing. Like, because I was just like, what is it that I do when I slap myself in the face and I get myself amped up before I lift something, right? So I gotta hype yourself up, right? I'm like, maybe we should just call it hype lifting. And something that's good to do is when you create up a new concept, A, you just publish it out there and you create information around it, or B, you could just Google the concept yourself, right? So then I like Googled hype lifting. There wasn't actually much written on it, and that's always a good sign, because if you want to conquer the internet, it's better to enter a place where there's not much information created on it yet, and then you yourself fill that vacuum. So even like a decade plus ago, when I was like starting street photography, like kind of more like 2010, 2011, there was actually very little / no information online about like how to do street photography, you know, how to conquer your fears, blah blah. And so I was like, oh, I want to create the information that I'm hungry to find myself. So I filled that gap, and then now I become the goat of street photography. Now then, a better goal for myself is to fill different gaps of knowledge which are personally interesting to me. So for example, like the intersection of weightlifting, intermittent fasting, bodybuilding, power building is a new concept I have. Is that like, I'm not just trying to build my body, I'm trying to build my power. But I'm not just doing powerlifting because I don't compete, and I don't always lift things. I like to sometimes just hold things or push things. Oh, power lifter, what? Power pusher, power mover, whatever you is. This is also where I'm very distrustful of CrossFit, because like it's, well, like at least with yoga, like if you do yoga, right, like yoga's been around for a long time. Yoga as a general concept is quite time tested, whereas CrossFit was like a corporation / concept invented by the dude who got kicked out of his own company, and that was Greg Glassman. The thing I find very bizarre about Greg Glassman and CrossFit is, you look at the dude, he's like, it's like, has this guy even ever worked out in his life? And then people treat him like some sort of like yogi, demigod, guru. And I'm like, it's like, just Google it. It's like Greg Glassman muscle, or Greg Glassman flexing, or Greg Glassman six-pack, or I don't know. Like, it's like, does this guy even work out, or is he like one of these like nerds who just done like analyzed all these other athletes and then created an interesting system, a robust system that actually seems to work for people. But I mean, moral of the story is you should never hire a personal trainer if he or she isn't insanely swole and you don't want to. They should be swoller than you, right? So don't trust CrossFit. I mean, I think for a lot of people it's good, but I would just say with CrossFit, you know, just steal some of the moves or the concepts and stuff and just integrate it yourself. Like for me, I don't follow nothing. I just go to the gym and then figure it out as I go, and I enjoy the process. Like even yoga, I hate doing yoga classes like for an hour. It's, oh, I'm stuck here with this millennial trying to do their yoga teacher training or whatever, and I'm just like, but then a lot of the yoga poses are extremely useful. So, you know, you learn the moves, you learn the techniques, and just do it on your own. And also the good thing about not having, like, I always work out solo, not having a workout partner. My mom's actually visiting from Korea right now, so I've been taking her to gym, teaching her how to do the rack pulls too. I'm gonna teach her how to do the squat hold soon too, to get my mom super swole. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like, if you have all these theories about fitness and stuff like that, best thing to do is help train your partner, train your mom, etc., your kids, get your kids super swole, right? So I think yeah, it's don't have a workout buddy, just do it yourself solo. Like, if you need motivation from somebody else to do something, my suggestion is just try to figure out a different way of doing things which is intrinsically motivating to